From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of InFocus. I am your host. I'm excited to have today's conversation because I'm here in the 22 News Plus studio with Mike Quincy. He is the automotive writer and tester for Consumer Reports. Mike, thank you so very much for joining me. I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me on.
Mike and I have previously spoken on mass appeal, and I love the concept of EVs, as you probably already know, and Mike is the specialist in this. And today we are going to talk about electric vehicles. So, Mike, again, thank you so very much. When it comes to EVs, what are some of the newest models that might be coming out for this upcoming model year?
Well, despite the fact that EVs overall have the sales have kind of flattened out, and certainly we know that Tesla has had some issues selling vehicles not only in the United States but worldwide. Car companies are still very committed to EVs, and this is kind of you're looking into how we make the sausage here, but the vehicles that you're seeing right now were designed and developed years ago.
So when you say years ago, okay, this is 2025. So some of the newer models coming out, whether they're EVs or just your standard combustion engine, how long ago were those models designed?
Probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Really?
Sure. It takes a long time to develop a new car, and billions of dollars, a lot of money.
Wow.
So some of the vehicles that and we'll talk about. One is the 2027 BMW iX3 SUV. A lot of times you think, well, is that just an electric version of an X3? Not exactly. BMW, like a lot of manufacturers, when the wave of EVs started getting strong over the last 10 years or so, they would take an existing platform and kind of modify it to become an EV. So this new BMW,
but isn't that sort of standard across the industry? Why reinvent the wheel? Just take something we've kind of already got and modify it slightly?
Because a vehicle platform will be different when it's designed to be an EV specifically right out of the box, as opposed to modifying something that already exists.
Okay.
So the iX3 was designed to be an EV from the first sketch, as opposed to the BMW i5, which is their all-electric sedan that was built on a modified 5 Series platform. So I know this is kind of getting into the weeds here, but it shows you that companies are taking EVs seriously, because it costs, like I said, it costs a lot of money to develop a new car, and especially an EV, because BMW is not what you call like a legacy EV maker like Tesla.
Right.
So they've been learning this stuff as they're going on, but trying to meet the public demand.
Okay. So you got a new BMW coming out. I understand there's a Mercedes as well.
Right. And it just so the iX3, just for 1 second, it'll probably get about 400 miles of range, because that's usually what people are interested in. And this isn't going to be coming out until like in 2026. Estimated cost between $54,000 and $65,000. So I want to get that little bit of homework in. But yeah, the 2027 Mercedes-Benz is another EV called the GLC EQ, and this is also a kind of a mid-sized or smallish SUV type of thing. Like the iX3, the GLC gets an all-new platform. And by platform, I'm talking about, like, when you build an EV, you have a big bank of batteries that are on the lowest part of the vehicle itself. Right. And there's a lot of weight involved. So you're talking about weight distribution. You're talking about suspension system, wheels and tires that can handle all that weight. So it is kind of a big deal that this is a new platform. And the GLC is probably going to get between 350 and 400 miles of cruising range. Again, those really important numbers, and priced at between $60,000 and $75,000, should go and sell late in 2026. And that's kind of the future of going of new EVs. But one that's available right now is the Lucid Gravity. And Lucid is one of those EV startups, kind of like Tesla used to be, or
Right.
Rivian. And this is their second model. This is a 3-row SUV. It's pretty big. We actually had a visit from Lucid that came to Consumer Reports test track, and we all got to walk around the car with the executives, got to drive it. We're going to be shooting a podcast on it. And
Where's Lucid made?
Where is Lucid made? Wow.
I stumped you. Is it an American company? Or
yes,
it's
an American company. Where is it?
Because there's an EV company out there that's Chinese. BYD.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
but
Chinese.
I didn't know whether
EVs,
Lucid was one of those.
No,
Chinese.
I don't believe Lucid is made overseas. I believe because Ford has had a lot of investment. I want to say maybe Ohio or somewhere in the Midwest.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly. It is an American company. It is a large vehicle. Lucid is known for their Air, which is their sedan. It was really, really swoopy.
Yeah.
And the styling was very arresting the first time we saw it. But sitting behind it, because when you have like a swept back windshield, and it almost seems like it's all done for aerodynamics, so it's really hard to see out of it.
Yeah.
Because the front roof pillars are thick, they're like right in your side field of vision. And their Gravity SUV is designed the same way. So it has the Lucid look. And they're talking about 440 miles of cruising range. It is on sale now between $79,000 and $94,000.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and they put a lot of time and effort into this. And we're going to be Consumer Reports going to be buying our own test model, and we're going to be putting it through our tests. So it's kind of exciting if you are, sort of an EV geek.
So, I mean, you've got the BMW, the Mercedes, the Lucid. Any other like bigger names that might be coming out with a newer model? Like, is there a Cadillac out there?
Yeah, there's one called the Cadillac Vistique. And this is obviously a well-known brand like Cadillac.
Yeah.
It's a 3-row SUV. Has all-wheel drive, has about 615 horsepower. That's one thing about these EVs. None of them are lacking horsepower. They were so fast, they're insane.
Exactly. And it's like, for some people, that you equate it to like driving a golf cart. Granted, golf carts have governors on them so they can only go so fast. But when you step on the gas pedal, they come out of the starting gate.
Yeah. I grew up in the era of admiring all the muscle cars from Detroit.
Yep.
The 454 Chevelles, the 427 Corvettes, and these EVs are all way faster.
Wow!
Anyhow, so the Cadillac Vistique, EPA estimates that it'll get about 305 miles of cruising range. One of the unique things about the Vistique is they have an adapter that will allow it to access the Tesla supercharging system for $225. One of the chief benefits, if you're thinking about an EV, of going with Tesla, is they have a charging network that's second to none in the United States.
Right.
They put a lot of money into real estate and building this thing, and the Tesla superchargers are almost worth the price of admission to buy one of those branded cars just because of the chargers.
Fantastic.
The Vistique is on sale now.
That is a perfect way to segue out of our first segment into a first commercial break, and we'll come back with Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports in just a minute.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back to today's edition of InFocus. We're talking with Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports about one of my most favorite topics, the electric vehicles that you see on the road. And it's not just cars. There's motorcycles out there. There's trucks. There's buses. EVs seem to be kind of proliferating our roadways all over. But when it comes, no matter what car it is, Mike, when it's whether it's an internal combustion or an EV, what are some of the key things that customers want, that the consumer of the vehicle wants?
When Consumer Reports, is pondering these questions, and we have millions of Consumer Reports members, we ask them, we put out surveys, and we say, what is important to you? And year after year, Consumer Reports readers, subscribers, members are saying that they're still looking for reliability and safety. That always
Okay.
seems to be the top of the list. Nobody wants a vehicle that's going to strand them in the middle of the night or on a long trip going on vacation or something like that. And that is that's real. It's a real critical aspect of vehicle ownership. A lot of times people are saying, I've got an old vehicle, it's still okay, but I'm thinking about
You
upgrading.
mean my Nissan Pathfinder with 200,000 miles on it that's 20 years old?
And so when people ask me, what should I do? I was like, well, is it giving you reliable transportation, or is it breaking down a lot? Can you not trust it? So I think that's the big, that should be the number one factor is the vehicle going to get me where I need to go safely.
Right. It's funny. My mechanic said to me, we had this exact same conversation, and he goes, you got to look at it as the break-even point is about $6,000 in repairs a year. That's about a $500 a month car payment. If you're above that, it's time for a new car.
Right.
And I go, you know what? That's a pretty good benchmark. And I'm not there with my Pathfinder, and I still love the Pathfinder, and it's still in great shape.
Or if the cost of the repair is more than the resale value.
Absolutely. Which I had a car like that previously.
Sure. I mean, and dollar for dollar, that is the cheapest way to own a car, is to buy something good, something that's quality, and drive it as long as you can.
We're jumping ahead here because I wanted to bring this up later, and I still will, but I bought a good Nissan. I'm not buying one today. We'll come back to Nissan a little bit later because it really does talk about the reliability, the things that customers want.
Mm-hmm.
So, so safety, reliability, are EVs providing that, or are safety? Battery fires. Battery fires just seem to be taking over the news, but gas cars have fires as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is an exaggeration to say that EV fires are taking over the news. And I know you and I both work in the news. Right. We're in the media. But no, there are way more internal combustion engine fires than EV fires on the roads today. I mean, not even close. But in Consumer Reports' own reliability surveys, EVs are still having their teething problems. It's certainly the newer startups like Lucid and Rivian they're not used to mass production. Tesla is still way ahead of that.
Right.
Even some of the Teslas are having problems. They're not all super reliable, and so they just. Because you go EV doesn't mean you're not going to have problems with your cars.
It's like an internal combustion. They're all internal combustion, but one's better than the next. Right. You have to do your research, right?
Right, and that is that goes into part of the surveys that Consumer Reports does, because another factor of vehicle ownership, what people are looking for, is owner satisfaction. I mean, we every year we ask Consumer Reports members, would you buy this car again? It's a very simple kind of equation. And that is part of our ratings program. Okay. We look at reliability, we look at safety, but we also want to know. So you bought this vehicle. What do you think of it? Is it good? Is it fulfilling your needs? And the vehicles that are highest are really say something about owner satisfaction. I mean, one of the highest rated owner satisfaction vehicles. It's a funny story. Is a Jeep Wrangler. People love their Jeep Wranglers,
really?
but it flies absolutely counter to the reliability.
They love it, but it's not reliable.
But it's not reliable. There's all kinds of problems with this vehicle, but it's kind of like there isn't one vehicle that's right for everyone. And people that buy Wranglers kind of like, yeah, I know it's not as reliable as a Toyota, but I still really like it.
But it's a culture,
right?
Like the Jeep Wrangler is a culture,
right?
So I think that's what people are buying into. Yeah, it might cost me a little bit more, but I got a Wrangler.
And some people are willing to kind of, I don't want to say risk it, but I'm just like, I'll trade some of the reliability kind of for the fun factor. But I mean, I'm not like that. I really want something that's more reliable. Right. I'm going to give up some character for more reliability. But that's kind of another piece of the puzzle.
Let's switch gears now to affordability. What are some of the EVs that are either already out there, coming up on the horizon, that people can buy? I mean, we talk about the Lucid, the Beamer, the Mercedes.
They're all
$90,000.
They're all crazy money.
Exactly. Is there anything in the $30,000 to $50,000 range, which sadly is the average price of a car now? Is there anything in that range that people can seriously consider switching from a gas to an electric that is affordable?
I would look at the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Okay.
This is like a 5-door kind of, it's not really an SUV. It's kind of like an AMC Pacer. It's kind of roundish. It's got a hatchback. It looks kind of funky.
I don't know if they're going to sell any if we call it a Pacer, but
maybe not quite a Pacer. It's just the thing that just hopped into my mind. I actually really like the Ioniq 5, mostly because the controls are super easy.
Okay.
And it's really efficient. It did well in Consumer Reports testing. Chevrolet came out with an EV version of its Equinox, small or medium SUV. That also did well in Consumer Reports testing. These are all, under, probably around 50-ish. The problem of saying we're going to try to find an affordable EV is that EVs cost a lot of money for the car companies to produce. And I don't know, I'm not an automotive analyst, but I don't know if any of them are making a lot of profit from selling their EVs. And Nissan's tried for a number of years with their Leaf. That was always one of the more affordable ones out there. They're actually going to be coming out with a redesigned model in like a month or so. So that's sort of exciting. It's hard to find what we would call an affordable EV. If you're looking for affordability, probably the better way to go is a used car. So,
oh, really?
Or maybe a used EV, but that is also a different can of worms. And you would be wise to look at Consumer Reports reliability surveys before jumping.
Absolutely. We are upon our second commercial break. We're with Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports talking about electric vehicles. We'll be right back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back to In Focus. Today, Mike Quincy's in the hot seat with me. We're talking about EVs. Mike is from Consumer Reports. Mike, thanks again for joining me. Some of the vehicles that we talked about, you talked about the Beamer, the Mercedes, the Lucid, the Hyundai Ioniq. Those are all like the SUV crowd. For lack of a better, you're the car guy, not me.
Sure.
Or as I describe them, the mini SUVs. Like my Nissan Pathfinder, I would call that a normal standard size SUV. That mini SUV crowd, I guess it's called a crossover or something of that nature, right? Where minivans once ruled the road, crossovers are now there. Is that what people? It's got to be what people want because they keep making them,
right? Well, it's because people keep having babies. I mean, so if you have a young family, you want hatchback versatility, you want a slightly elevated ride height, you want all-wheel drive. You want all those things that crossovers deliver. Now, I will still, take this all the way to the end. I will still maintain that a minivan is the best family vehicle ever because it has even more versatility than a crossover. But some people still can't get over the image of a minivan, which is too bad because there aren't as many minivans out as there used to be. Right. Domestic manufacturers completely walked away from minivans.
Right.
But the ones that are available, I'm talking about the Toyota Sienna, the Honda Odyssey, the Kia Carnival. These are all really, really good cars.
I have a male, and I will say male men, cousins, friends who ended up getting the minivan when their kids were little, much against what they wanted.
Right.
But they'll say to me, they'll go, best car I've ever owned.
It's the best car.
Don't say anything, but it's the best car I've ever owned.
I mean, to have like a Toyota Sienna, and you can fold down all the seats and remove the seats. You got all that cargo carrying. When you have a minivan, everyone wants to borrow it. Or they'll say, can you help me move? Or I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, whatever.
We got a group going somewhere. Do you mind driving?
Right. So I love minivans, but I get the appeal of why people want crossovers. They want, as we talk about, styling is part of the reason that people buy cars.
Right.
And the styling of crossovers are what people are after. And listen, it's not automakers are often accused of pushing certain things.
Right.
I think the automakers are responding to what the market is asking for.
Of course.
The market is asking for crossovers. Now, to me, the downside of all the crossovers is the decline of the sedan. I like cars, just like cars. The Toyota Camry is a great car. The Honda Accord is a great car.
Nissan Altima, all
Good,
those
yes.
standard sedans. They're just nice.
But the funny part is like all of these crossovers are built on car platforms,
Right.
The front wheel drive and whatnot. But again, it's the look. The people say I need an SUV. Most people don't need an SUV, but they want an SUV.
Right.
And I would say if you are like a police officer, an emergency room surgeon, a firefighter, where there can be 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, you have to be out of your house,
right?
Then you need ground clearance. You need big winter tires. You need 4-wheel drive to get to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Most people don't need. They want it, but they don't need it.
Right. And I've had a series of crossovers and SUVs. I like sitting higher. Yeah, I do some skiing, I carry my golf clubs, the family, the storage space, but I don't like sedans because I sit too low. I like to be able to see, who's out there.
Especially you've been driving your Pathfinder for so long, you get used to that.
My second Pathfinder. I've owned Pathfinder for 30 years.
So when you get into a sedan and you're sitting low, you think that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But like from a driver's standpoint, sedans being lower to the ground, they handle better. They have better braking distances. They get better fuel economy. There's all the arguments in the world I could give you to go for a sedan instead of a crossover. But I get why people are going for crossovers.
All right, I've mentioned my Nissan plenty of times. I'm terribly disappointed in the news that Nissan might be going away. So from a buyer stay aware perspective, what are some of the manufacturers out there? Maybe we can talk Nissan for a minute or so, or maybe some of the other manufacturers that people really need to be aware of.
Well, whenever you're dealing with any kind of a startup, you never know if they're going to be around in 6 months or a year or something like that. Rivian and Lucid always seem to be on the brink of financial catastrophe. And because we talked about the profitability of EVs, it's very slim. So they're always something to keep in the back of your mind. You mentioned Nissan and their luxury brand Infiniti. They're definitely going through some rough times. There was some talk about 8 months or so about Honda buying them or merging with them, and that fell apart. Nissan has such a long and illustrious history in the United States. I'm old enough to remember when they were called Datsun.
I was just going to ask you, did Nissan replace Datsun or same thing?
It was the same company.
Okay.
They were Nissan everywhere else in the world. And for some reason, people thought, well, you can't, that sounds too Japanese if you're Nissan. So you're going to be Datsun. And then in the 80s, they went through the whole name change thing, which from a marketing standpoint is absolute nightmare. And so what is going to happen with Nissan? I'm not sure. I think there are still some safe bets if you get a good deal on like you brought up the Nissan Altima, which did well in Consumer Reports testing. It's not a super exciting sedan.
Right. They also make an all-wheel drive Altima, so if all-wheel drive is what you need,
but they're reliable, they're fuel efficient, and if you can get a good deal on it, I wouldn't tell you not to buy it.
Right.
Some Nissans are better than others. The Nissan Sentra is a really good small car. The Sentra was a Consumer Reports top pick last year. And so being the best in the small car segment, granted the small car segment isn't as big as it used to be, but the Sentra is a good solid car. But what's going to happen with Nissan in the future? I'm not sure. But you can't bring up Nissan without bringing up Stellantis, which also known as Chrysler. Right. They're even more, I don't know,
of a question mark.
Well, their finances have always been shaky as long as I can remember, going back to the Lee Iacocca days.
Wow.
When they went to the government and asked for money, loans to kind of fund their the foundation of their K car, which basically saved the company, and their LH models in the early 90s, which helped them also. So whether or not they are going to pull off long-term success is a big question mark. We talked about Jeep before. Jeep is the crown jewel of all the Chrysler products, and because that name is worth a lot of money. And I can't talk about the car companies on the brink without bringing up Mitsubishi. Do you remember Mitsubishi?
Oh, yeah. I owned one of those decades ago.
They have a very thin product line. Their little crossover SUV is basically a Nissan Rogue, and but Mitsubishi has their hands in all kinds of different things on a worldwide basis. The U.S. car market doesn't seem to be a great interest to them.
Before we wrap, Mike, where can people go if they want to learn more? What's Consumer Reports website?
ConsumerReports.org. We're .org, not a .com. We're a nonprofit organization. We don't take advertising. We consider ourselves sort of the good guys. Because we don't take advertising, and we're not in bed with any manufacturer. We really tell the straight truth about all the products that we buy and then test.
Fantastic. Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports. I can't thank you enough. Hopefully you can come back and join me on InFocus later.
Love it. Thanks so much for having me on.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.